Hello and welcome back to My Mom's Mojo Dojo Casa House presented by 3Chi and Barstool Sports. I am your host, Robbie Fox. Along with me is my co-host, Clem, and our very special guest, Eddie, all the way from Chicago. And we have him on here because we're going to do a Barbenheimer pod today. We're going to talk about Oppenheimer. We're going to talk about Barbie. It's a little bonus pod on the Secret Invasion finale week. But we bullied Eddie, straight up bullied him into going to these two movies and spending nearly 7 hours in a movie theater in a nice summer day. So we had to get him on the podcast. Clem, do you agree? We basically bullied this guy?
It was like a sneak attack that we didn't plan out, but it happened organically on the rundown. I mean, we're the Monday Rundown boys at this point, so we kind of have to step our game up. So we're just going to start bullying people, throw our weight around at this company. And Eddie was unfortunately the guy that was on the train tracks. And this is the thing, though. A lot of movie theater takes going out at Barstool, very controversial things that rile the people up. I know Eddie's a diehard movie guy, and it's like sometimes you just need to give that little push to the guy. I know that at some point in Eddie's head, he goes, "Would I do Barbenheimer?" That's the last time I'm going to even attempt the Eddie voice out of respect for you and Large. So we kind of just gave him that nudge, and a man of honor went through with it, and now we get to just hang out and talk some cinema. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, so I had no intention of doing that. Zero. I was going to see them both, 1,000%. So okay. But obviously I was probably going to start with Oppenheimer because that's a big conversation, and then I was probably going to see Barbie like this weekend. And these guys, I mean, you want to talk about strong arm me? I thought like, all right, I'm a big, I'm big on my word. So after the rundown, I was like, all right, I got to figure out a way to do this. But those text threads I was sending, you would have thought that they were going to tie me to the train tracks, Wile E. Coyote style, these guys.
It was a lesson in peer pressure from me and Clem, basically. Yeah. We were like, hey, I think Clem even texted me on the side, like, hey, should we text Eddie and like double team him here and make sure he's going to see Opp and Barbie this weekend? And I was like, yeah, let's get on him. So we texted him like, hey, we don't see those receipts. Send us your credit card statement, Ed. We want to see.
Eddie's a wrestling guy. Devon and Spike Dudley came out and put him through a table. And that's the thing. I know if I text Eddie, I may not get a response because he does have he's recording, and that takes chunks of hours when you're recording live. So I was like, even if I don't hear anything, I didn't hear anything for 2 hours. I'm like, man, Eddie, the silence is deafening. I'm not hearing a yes about you going to Barbenheimer. And I mean, these fucking Chicago guys, I have to hear about summertime shy, for the 3 months it's actually above 50 degrees there. So I know still Eddie didn't inside an air-conditioned theater for 7 hours, but I do truly appreciate it. I mean, these are my guys right here. I have, I love everyone at the company. There's like my inner circle, and it's like my brother in the basement and my brother on the dozen. So it's just good to be here, fellas.
And I got to say, I think we're setting a bad example, or at least Eddie's setting a bad example, because we bullied him, and now we just get to have a great podcast with him. So now we see, if you bully Eddie, we can just have him on the basement every week and talk about movies with him. This is great. Eddie, Ninja Turtles, August 2nd, just so you know.
Get your ass there.
I put the gun to my head right now, and I can't say no. So I guess I'm going to Ninja Turtles.
Did you have a decent experience in the 7-hour theater stay, though?
Yeah. So listen. Little thing now. Did you know they're doing this? So I like this. So I'm sure we'll get to the movies, but the experience of doing a double feature for 6.5 hours was interesting. They're letting you book handicap seats because that's all that was left available. Now, I know that could be misconstrued. I already take enough heat about dogs. I take enough heat about being in the Russian Communist Party. But here's the thing. I talked to the lady. She's like, no, it's like a thing now where we have to give up the handicap seats because we're overbooked. But obviously, if someone comes that needs it, you're bumped. I'm like, all right, I'll take that any day, So I got to send you the video. I took a little video. It was so wild. I was basically in a private Lincoln box for both these showings, dude. And for Oppenheimer, it was just me. And then Barbie, a couple of more people came up for it. But it was bizarre to be in this box by myself.
Do you think if someone from Chicago walks into that theater, sees you in the box, they're defending the communists because they think people are going to watch Oppenheimer and be too fired up and try to kill Ed for being part of the Red Party?
I mean, honestly, there was times I was sitting there and someone peeked in. I was like, I'm going to get John Wilkes Booth in. This is gonna be curtain.
But you had a seat. You didn't have to you didn't bring the chair, right?
Oh no, I had a seat. So it's basically there's 4 recliners, but next to the recliners there's a spot for a wheelchair if someone has a companion.
I heard people have been bringing lawn chairs and booking handicap spots at Lincoln Square.
Oh, I could, you 1,000% could do that. I told my friend, I was like, you should pull up a chair and just sit next to me, So
Yeah.
that was my experience. And it was weird because it was no, obviously there was no steps to get up there. So at first I was sitting in the wrong seat and someone bumped me and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm in the last row. I sat in L12. I knew I was in the wrong seat and I was in L21. That was my ticket. And then I look up and I'm like, how the fuck do I get up there? I'm like, hey, how do I get to my seat? And then she's like, oh yeah, come here. They gave me this private elevator, and it was like lovely. So I think I might just be pro handicap seat from now on.
You need someone to Nancy Kerrigan your legs, right? And then there you go.
I think so.
Hey, I've made this admission in the past when, like, especially like when you get off the train or whatever, you don't want to walk up the stairs and there's an elevator. I just give a little limp. So I just limp towards the elevator. So it's not because I'm lazy. Yeah, Kaiser Soze them. So I just throw the limp on it. I think it'll be all right. When you said chair too, I thought Robbie was asking if you brought your little tailgating chair where it just pops out.
That is what I was asking.
And he's just popping a squat there in the chair.
Well,
now we also had a seat dilemma, which is the worst thing you could ever go through, especially while the movie is happening. Like the second Oppenheimer started, we had our seats, and then we had like the empty seat for Kevin, and someone comes and sits in it. So immediately we're like, oh fuck, that's Kevin's seat. He's still getting his concessions. So I'm like, let me take care of this for him. Let me be a good guy here. I lean over and I'm like, hey, we have that seat. The guy, he's kind of an old guy, kind of gives me like a yeah. And I was like, what the fuck? He kind of just told me to fuck off. He's still sitting in the seat. So I'm looking at my girlfriend. I'm looking at Clem. I'm like, I don't know what to do here. Then KFC comes up and he's standing there like, what do I do? Where do I go? And I lean to the guy again. I'm like, hey, our friend has that seat. And he goes, this is my seat. He got really mad at me. It was like a very old man, like shut me down. And then I look at Clem, and Clem is on his phone. It looks like he has 100,000 tabs open. The way he's looking for these tickets, he's like, I can't find him. It's like a disaster, to the point where KFC just goes, I'm gonna go sit up there. And then we found out, so KFC did not sit with us during Oppenheimer, but we found out afterwards it was the people next to Clem that were in the wrong seats. So everyone was shifted down. But for the first like minute of that movie, we were in an absolute torture chamber. It was an anxiety-inducing moment, much like the movie would come on to show us.
Yeah, so this is the new world we're living in. Again, like, we saw a new world get ushered in with the atomic bomb. We saw a new world has been ushered into the movie theaters with this assigned seating stuff, right? I think that was a COVID thing. Is now every theater, I feel like you got to pick your seats out, which I think is a good thing in the long run, right?
Great thing.
Yeah, it's very good. But however, it's moments like this where the concession stand at the place where we're in New Rochelle, very slow. So everyone's coming in late. Once those lights go down, I'm looking at the people next to me, and like our seats were very weird where it had both armrests. One says 8, one says 7. I don't know which seat is 7, which seat is 8. So I'm like, oh shit, is this the person next to me? Am I supposed to go more over? I look at them. They just start looking in the air. The person next to them, everyone's avoiding eye contact. These people, Ed, they had the corner seats because we're in the IMAX too. This is premium seating, right? They probably had first row all the way to the side. And they said, I'm going to go up to E8 and get myself, some primo real estate up there. And our boy KFC was the last one with the popcorn. So he was the last one to sit down. And he literally sat front row, dead center. Luckily, he was center. And it wasn't like one of those, you're basically like under the aquarium in the splash zone for Shamu. He was actually in a decent spot. It wasn't too big of an IMAX, but I felt bad. Like he took an L there. And I guess as the leader, that's on me. But it's kind of one of those things that, Chicago, I feel like Chicago's as similar as New Rochelle. You have some people that are just like, I'm going to sit where the fuck I want to sit. And if you're going to ask me in the middle of a movie with like 1,000 people in the room to get up, you can go and try to do that.
Oppenheimer too. Like if it's fucking, that Jennifer Lawrence, No Hard Feelings movie, like, all right, it's a comedy. Like, people are talking in it. People are laughing in it anyway. It's like the first 5 minutes of the new Christopher Nolan movie that everyone's been waiting for. It's IMAX. Probably 10% of our theater wearing pink, and they followed us right across the theater to Barbie afterwards. And we did like right into Barbie. It was like Oppenheimer right into, but you did the same order, right, Ed?
Yeah, I had like a 30 to 35 minute break though.
Oh, wow.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's nice. We had no break. We walked into Barbie as it was probably like 5 minutes into Barbie when we walked.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was literally like we just watched possibly the destruction of Earth and Pinkland It's nice. It's Barbie land. We're singing.
Yeah, dude. It was. I one more thing about this Lincoln box. If I may. So I tell you, I had like a 35 minute break, right?
Yeah.
And of course, I have my drink and my popcorn, and I walk out to take a phone call. There's only one way in, one way out. And I'm like, I'm watching the door because I'm gonna get a refill, whatever. I want to be filled up for Barbie. And I go back in there after I take a phone call, and my popcorn and my drink was gone.
No.
What?
Dude, I've been thinking about it since, and I don't think there's like an accurate way to describe how thrown off I am. It's like someone was on stilts cleaning this popcorn, or someone had a big like lever that like reached. It was the most bizarre thing ever. I've been thinking about it since.
Someone riding one of those tall bikes that you hate so much came on in, got the popcorn, and then they could just speed on out because they're on a wheel.
It's the only explanation.
They have a Mission Impossible guy that dropped in from the ceiling.
Rob, I'm not kidding you guys. It was like so bizarre. I was like, oh my God. And then like, I think I was within my rights. I went up. I was like, hey, anyway, I can just get a new drink. Like I already paid. I'll show you. And they were very nice. Like, oh yeah. I'm doing the Barbenheimer.
Oh, nice.
And they were very nice. They gave me a new one. So that was
nice.
Good.
So they took your popcorn and your drink?
Yes, dude. I was so thrown off.
And they gave you double both, or they just give you the drink? Did you not want to push the luck?
I didn't want to push the limit, so I didn't ask for popcorn. I just asked for a drink.
Okay,
yeah.
That's fair.
So as far as the movies go, getting into the movies, we'll start with Oppenheimer, being that was the first movie we saw. Then we'll get into Barbie. Oppenheimer, I'm the biggest Christopher Nolan guy, obviously, because of The Dark Knight. It's my favorite movie. That whole trilogy I love so much. I also love The Prestige, one of my favorite movies of all time. Inception. Not as big on Interstellar because I didn't love the ending, but I love the rest of the movie. Just love this director. Still, him doing a biopic on Oppenheimer, I was like, 3 hours, black and white. Is this going to be boring? Is this going to be history focused and you're too far into the forest to see the trees and it's just hard to understand? So I was a little worried. I went into it like, I'm excited for Nolan, but I don't know how excited I could be. I left that theater so, no pun intended, blown away. I could not believe it. I thought this was a masterpiece. It left me captivated the entire movie. The performances up and down the cast were outrageous. Every time someone else comes and joins the movie, I was like, holy shit. When Huey from The Boys joins the movie, me and Clem were fist pumping in there.
We fist pumped. We
looked at each other, fist pumped it. We loved it.
That was some nerdy shit. I like that we did that.
But the fact that they kept it captivating in a movie with no action scenes really, like there's the bomb scene, but that it's hard to describe that as action, but it's the closest thing we get. The visuals, the sound, everything about it exceeded my expectations. It's my favorite movie I've seen all year. It's probably my favorite movie I've seen since The Batman. I want to go back. I want to see it in the 70 millimeter Lincoln Square. They're sold out till the end of August. So they're going to have to extend that run.
That's incredible, by the way.
Like the 10 a.m. showings are sold out. It's crazy. Wow. Crazy. But I thought this was, I don't even want to call it everything I thought it could be because it was much more than that. I thought it was much better than I thought it could be. I think Cillian Murphy, I think he's going to win the Oscar for Best Actor. He was incredible. Didn't think about any of his previous roles when watching this. I think Robert Downey Jr. is going to win Best Supporting Actor. He completely transforms his cadence from that smart, quick-witted Tony Stark style where he's calling people douchebag and stuff to this Strauss, who's like, spoilers. Yeah, I guess.
We're spoiling the shit out of
history. It's fucking history also. You know what it is. Emily Blunt, I thought was great for the first 2/3. You know, she doesn't have a ton to do. I thought she was fine. Like, oh, you get Emily Blunt for a role like that. Then the final act of the movie, Emily Blunt fucking cranks it up to 11 and completely is hitting daggers on everybody. Matt Damon's great. The young Han Solo, Alden Ehrenreich, he was fucking great. He hits that line at the end where he's like, maybe they were talking about something more important. Love that. Casey Affleck in his quick scene. Chilling. I would describe that scene as just like, oh my God. Jason Clarke, the interrogator, he was such a great villain throughout the whole movie. You fucking hate this guy, the way he's asking questions. Jack Quaid from The Boys. Florence Pugh was great. She didn't, also another character that honestly didn't have a ton to do, but.
Bob, I'd say she did the most in the movies. That's all she was doing. I mean, I didn't realize this was going to be the case going into it. we got very intimate with Florence Pugh. I saw more about at first I didn't even recognize her because I haven't seen a ton of movies. I think like Black Widow, obviously I've seen her.
Or she's got like long blonde hair.
Yeah, she has dark features. I'm like, who is this? I'm like, wait a second, that's Natalia's sister from Black Widow. So she did a lot of the heavy lifting on this.
She did a lot of that, yeah. And then the one other actor I wanted to shout out is fucking Gary Oldman, who after the movie, no shit, walked out, and I said to Clem and KFC, I was like, who the fuck did Gary Oldman play? I knew he was in the movie. I don't know who he played. They were like, he played the president, dude. Another performance from this guy where he completely transforms himself. He has, I think, a better resume of different parts than anyone. Even Johnny Depp, I would put Gary Oldman above. You look at the role he plays in True Romance, and then you look at this, and then you look at Commissioner Gordon, like, it's crazy. So, yeah, I'll throw it to you, Clem. Your thoughts first.
Yeah, by the way, the Drexel that he plays in True Romance is one of the funniest things. Yeah, it was like Actors Avengers, basically, right? Where it's like, oh shit, we got another just 10 out of 10, a heavy hitter. There was a lot of parts of it that I loved, including, like you said, all the actors. First of all, Emily Blunt playing like kind of like the party girl, or not even the party girl, but she's like a booze hound. When she calls her kid like a brat, and I was like, been there, girl, been there with the parenthood kind of side of things. And then she's like this ride or die wife that kind of goes out of the way and like stands up for her husband when he doesn't do it as much. The dude who plays, I don't know if this happens to you, Eddie, but if there's like I know that guy from something, but I can't figure out what it is, especially in a movie like this, it like completely captivates my attention and takes my brain away. I couldn't figure out who the dude was that was grilling Oppenheimer in that little sham questioning board with the board. And it was, and Robbie said it was Jerry West from the Lakers show. Did you watch that at all?
I haven't, but I know
he's awesome in that, and he kind of plays the same like salty dog. But in terms of the movie, I liked it. It wasn't like I'd say Dark Knight's my favorite Christopher Nolan. Prestige is up there as well. It's just, I think the problem a lot of people who are given the negative-ish reviews are they went in thinking it was one kind of movie. It was more of a like psychological thriller. You have the trial, you have kind of the back and forth, along with all the stuff going on with the bomb. I thought it'd be much more about the town and the from beginning to end. But I still love the movie. Don't get me wrong. I still loved it. It was just different than I expected, which is fine. But you have a lot of talk and a lot of back and forth. But I appreciated the surprises, the twists and turns you had with the Strauss stuff. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. When they do something like make a dude like Albert Einstein, I kind of just love it. I'm like, I know him. I kind of know what that character's all about. I don't know about you guys as well. I was straight up the Leo DiCaprio pointing meme. When they said Heisenberg, I'm like, oh, Heisenberg. That's what they named him after. We have
watched Breaking Bad.
Yep. We have memes popping up left and right for both these movies all over the internet, which is obviously
memes are so good for both the movies.
Yep.
So good. Twitter has been, obviously their X has been making some weird decisions lately, but the people are lifting it up with Oppenheimer Barbie memes.
Yep. As much as Elon's trying to kill it, and Oppenheimer and Barbie are like, no, we'll put it on our shoulders here. We're going to carry you guys. Josh Hartnett, I forgot how much I love that fucking guy. He ruled. And I got to shout it out. And I saw KFC said it. I imagine Eddie has the same kind of feelings. Bernard, the elf from Elf, coming through in the clutch for us in humanity's biggest moment. So I mean, the acting
and like Eddie said, Josh Peck as well. How about Josh Peck being the fucking guy that's allowed to press the button on the test nuke?
Yeah. How about you?
I pictured him giving like the weather presentation, and Drake and Josh, he can't stop twitching, he's shaking, he can't stop. But yeah, Eddie, what did you think of Oppenheimer?
So I think Clem brings up a good point. If you went into that movie and you're like, man, I'm bummed out, it went a direction that I didn't think it would, and I wish they did this, I think that's fair. I think that's a totally fair thing to be disappointed in. However, you can't take it away. You can't take it away from the source material itself. You know what I mean? Like, you at least separate, like, all right, this is what I thought it was, but judge it in a vacuum of what you saw. That's my kind of take on that. But that seems to be the big thing. Like, we don't got to get too much into Che, but he was like upset about the courtroom and everything.
Thought it was going to be a shoot 'em up movie, right?
Yeah. Yes, exactly. He thought we were going to Harris and seeing all that. So, but whatever. I think I agree, Robbie. I thought the acting pretty much across the board was phenomenal. the women Blunt and Pugh are awesome.
Yep.
Robert Downey Jr. was sensational. There's one person where I said this too on Dog Walk the other day. I think I have a Matt Damon problem now.
No.
I
Yeah,
have it too, Ed.
I think I might have it too.
Explain it, because I think I'm with you on this.
Now he settled in,
Yeah.
but this happened to me in Air. When I saw Air, and like maybe it's because I knew Sonny Vaccaro. Like you've seen him do interviews and whatnot. But seeing him here, it's like I'm always just seeing Matt Damon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he settled, like I said, he settled in. Like once he kind of like the scenes got a little more rough or whatever, he was better. But I don't know, and I feel bad, but I don't know any other way to say it than that.
I said the same thing as soon as we left the movie. I go, everyone was awesome, including Matt Damon. But for some reason, he's always Matt Damon to me. Wow. And I don't know how this happened, just by pure coincidence. I watched Band of Brothers right before I went to Oppenheimer, completely like independently. I was not in World War II mode. And then I just watched fucking Saving Private Ryan last night because I had some time to burn. And I was like, it's fucking Saving Matt Damon. I forgot about this. And back then, it wasn't probably nearly as bad, even though I think he kind of blew up in Good Will Hunting right before the movie came out, which no one could have seen coming, but as much as they did. But it's the same thing. And I think the Air definitely messed with this as well, because it's the same thing in Air. I never saw Sonny Vaccaro. I always saw Matt Damon playing Sonny Vaccaro.
And I didn't feel that way about Affleck as Phil Knight at all. So
I think you're right about that. Is it also, how much of it has to do with the Damon haircut and the short-haired Damon, at least? Because when I watch Good Will Hunting, I buy him as Will Hunting. Still to this day, buy him as Will Hunting. Any other movie, though, I do think Matt Damon, and he was great in this movie. Like, they have some amazing, I think he plays Groves, amazing scenes between Groves and Oppenheimer. I love the scene where they're talking about Casey Affleck's character, and he's like, what the fuck did you say to him? He's like, no. You don't mess with him. He kills everyone. Like, and Oppenheimer just couldn't stop fucking communists. This guy had a type. He just, every single person, his friends, his family, surrounded himself with communists. And then was like, no, I'm not a communist. And the way they kind of get you on his side, and then they throw you off of his side, you're on and off of like thinking, is he a good guy? Is he a good guy doing bad things? Is he a bad guy? Is he a crazy person? The way they start the movie with him like putting cyanide in his teacher's apple. You're like, that was what the fuck? That's like, this guy's about to poison. So some scenes that I just wanted to point out that I thought were awesome as well. The Trinity test scene, everyone's talking about for good reason. The fact that the bomb goes off and they use that silence so well for what felt like a minute, maybe 40 seconds, and then it hits you. That was the moment that you want to see in IMAX. Like everyone's saying, you got to see this on the biggest screen possible and everything. I felt like that lived up to the hype. I felt my chair rumbling when the actual bomb hit. That was good.
Trust tree. We're in the trust tree. I mean, these are my guys. Yeah. I'm always in the trust tree with my guys here. So I could tell as the bombs were getting bigger, it was getting louder. And I'm like, if this gets louder to like atomic level, it's going to like blow my eardrums out. I held my ears when they dropped the bomb, and I knew there was going to be a delay because there was always a delay for the sound.
Yeah.
And I still did it like I was a little fucking 8-year-old bitch in the movie theater. And I just have to come clean. I don't want to see anything mean on social media to me because this is the trust tree. You can't say mean stuff when someone's in the trust tree. And then I ended up just getting my ears blown out anyway because I took them out. It's the reason you're in the IMAX though. So I guess it's kind of like why we're there.
Not
right?
The way Christopher Nolan intended it, Clem.
That 600-pound, 11-mile fucking IMAX thing, I completely like ruined it for him. Which did you hear that they made the whole thing about the IMAX was IMAX, I guess like the cameras or the film was made when obviously color was a part of it. They had to make special black and white IMAXs for this. That's how you know this dude is like a sick, diehard fucking film guy, that he's doing this kind of shit just to get black and white scenes to pop on it.
Mm-hmm. And his whole thing with this movie was no CGI, right? We're not doing any computer-generated effects. So the bombs, the explosions, the earth, the close-ups, the atoms splitting, all of that is very microscopic stuff, or big explosions in the desert layered on top of each other. Now, someone has gone in and layered some CGI over this movie without Christopher Nolan's consent. He must be pissed about it. In the Middle East and in India, there are no nude scenes in this movie. They have put a CGI black dress over Florence Pugh during all of those scenes. I've seen a picture of it. In the still image, it actually looks okay. It just looks like a little black dress. I can't imagine it looks good when she's moving and walking around.
And like, what about all like the sex scenes? Is she having sex with a dress on? This like black dress is just doing a lot of stretching. All right. Yeah. I mean, hey, listen, that's if you want to talk about the biggest takeaway from this movie. Oppenheimer was slanging that thing back in the day. That guy,
Oppenheimer, that's good.
The man loves two things. The man loves quantum physics and he loves pussy. That was the biggest takeaway I take.
Communist pussy, yeah. Yeah. Oh my God, crazy. Is that how you got your red amputation?
Yes, that's exactly that's communist pussy. I wish that were the case. I would accept it. Except like communist dog hater. That's a lot worse than communist.
That would actually. Hell, I'll tell you what. There's a funny skit to be made about trying to take Ed's security clearance away for the dog walk because he might be a communist.
Yeah.
There's the final scene with Einstein is so good. The way Nolan set that up as a reveal. Einstein, by the way, played by the prisoner who helped Bruce Wayne out in The Dark Knight Rises. Christopher Nolan just sticking with his guys. I love that. Same thing Tarantino does. And James Gunn, a bunch of directors do that. The horror type scenes when he's like giving a speech and everyone's clapping and the feet are going and it's just overwhelming.
That was nice.
Very well done. Another horror like scene when Florence Pugh, they show her death, her drowning herself in the bathtub or whatever. There's that quick glimpse of like black gloves drowning her. Yeah. Nolan throwing that in. Someone had a tweet like he was really in his horror bag in that moment. He fucking was. And later found out because of the documentary on Peacock and YouTube and stuff that there's a lot of skepticism about her death. And a lot of people think she was murdered because of the ties to the Communist Party, Oppenheimer meeting up with her right beforehand. And the fact that she plunged herself into a bathtub like head first like that. It's a strange way to commit suicide, but very cool for Nolan to like show it like that, I thought.
Yeah.
He did like a good job, which I didn't realize. The black and white is all stuff that's like on the record exactly as it happened. And then the color stuff is you can kind of take your imagination wild with what might have happened. And even like they never show exactly what she did. So it could have just been her going into the bathtub and then someone else is the one who actually puts her down. There's the note that's written that's unsigned and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that was, I kind of got out of the theater thinking like there might have been some bigger works at play, which I mean, a lot of communist stuff here. Ed, was there a party that was kind of like empathetic and sympathetic to Oppenheimer, just getting grilled for his communist eyes, being like, he didn't even have to deal with Barada Gang and all the Twitter notifications I have to deal with.
Yeah, it was wrong.
I wanted to make a meme. If someone out there can make the meme of Oppenheimer in front of the board and it's like Oppenheimer's Ed, and then the board is Chief, White Sox Dave, Barada Gang, and all, the fucking people that, hey, listen, these are two Ed heads here. You're amongst friends right now. Me and Robbie are your Emily.
We're red for you.
We ride for you. We ride for you.
We both were red for you, actually.
Yeah, we did.
And that's why I take the bullying to go see a 7-hour movie.
Two scenes in this movie that were directly pulled from real life, almost verbatim, that I wanted to point out. The meeting with Truman, where Truman calls him a crybaby, says, "Get that crybaby out of my office." Apparently, almost word for word, what really happened. And Emily Blunt's final questioning scene, where she's like, "I don't like the way you phrased that." He didn't go, to communist channels. He went through communist channels. That whole thing where she doesn't shake the hand and everything, real life. Pretty badass. And the Truman thing is just fucking crazy.
The Truman thing really took me aback. Everyone talks about now how it's like, oh my gosh, there's no decorum in the White House. There's no this, there's no that. I mean, this guy was a savage. It seems like he was always like this. You know what I mean?
He's like, "Sir, I built the bomb that killed hundreds of thousands. I feel like I have blood on my hands." And he's like, "You're a fucking pussy. I pressed the button. Get the fuck out of here, pussy."
The biggest burn in the movie wasn't everything that happened in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. It was the president calling Oppenheimer a crybaby. That is such a fucking good old school insult. Like, you guys had an insult draft, didn't you? Someone recently?
Yeah.
And crybaby, it's like it's probably like one of the first insults you learn. And then it just makes the person cry more, which then becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy for the crybaby. So that's a tough look for a guy that like was probably one of the biggest names in the world at that point, and fucking the president just took his fucking legs out from him.
And then I've got two more quick notes before we move on to Barbie. The scene where they are choosing which city to bomb, it's the guy who played Dexter's dad in the show. And he's like, "We're going to take Kyoto off the list because it means a lot to the Japanese people, and also because I honeymooned there with the wife, and it's very nice."
That was a hit.
That was a hit with the theater. You heard the entire theater like turn to everyone on their side, be like, "Did he really just fucking say that?" Another thing from real life, that guy was like, I honeymooned there, so let's not bomb him. Let's keep that off.
Yeah.
And then just this such a Christopher Nolan moment. Everyone's saying the end of that movie when he drops the JFK name, he dropped it like it was dropping Robin at the end of The Dark Knight Rises or the Joker card at the end of Batman Begins. He's like, by the way, fucking cinematic universe, JFK up next.
Yeah, good point. Good point. I do want to point out the Pash scene with Affleck was great too.
Oh, yeah.
With Casey Affleck, that was a lot of tension, and he played that phenomenal. Can I give my one con though? The thing I thought they set up the Robert Downey Jr. rift a little too clunky. Like there was went from the beginning, and then obviously you had everything, and then it cut in and out. But there was just a sense in me where like, wait, it kind of went over my head. I'm an idiot, don't get me wrong, but I just felt like it was a little too subtle. There should have been more there, in my opinion.
I think that's fair because I would love. Obviously, I'm going to go back and see it again, but the scene where they showed a couple times of him like being like, "Oh, he could use beer to make a bomb. He could use a sandwich." Like he's making fun of him and everyone's laughing in front of him. That went over my head a little bit. Like that whole courtroom exchange, why he offended him. I'm sure on a second watch, I'll be like, okay, I understand it now. The other thing with Nolan movies, the sound was incredible. Every Nolan movie has a couple lines that you just can't hear. And there were a couple lines in this movie that I just couldn't hear. And I was just like, oh, no, they need Nolan with subtitles, which I'm sure he would fucking throw up if he heard me say that. He would literally be but I think Nolan with subtitles would work. It would work for Dunkirk. It would work for The Dark Knight Rises. There's a lot of... He also somehow is able to get the loudest movie scenes I've ever seen. Still to this day, the loudest movie scene I've ever been in a theater for is in The Dark Knight when they recreate the bullets shooting because they want to like place it together for the thumbprint. For whatever reason, I remember that was 15 years ago now. And I'm like, that scared the fuck out of me.
I'm with you on that too, Ed. It was kind of like clunky. Like they almost turned this like, I wouldn't say Strauss is like this brilliant guy or any means. He's like a politician, and he's able to get these brilliant minds together. And he almost turned into like a Scooby-Doo villain. He's like, I got you ever since you called a sandwich could be a bomb, right? And then because Einstein looked at him funny, that's what like made him just completely sewer an American hero, right? It did feel.
I liked weird. That though. I liked the Einstein reveal. It felt like a Christopher Nolan level prestige Inception kind of like. And I love that they kept showing when they were looking at maps, it was the ripple effect that would show like where the bombs go off. And the final shot being him staring blankly into that river while it's drizzling and you see the ripple go off and everything. I was just like, that's fucking artistic as shit.
That went way above my head, Bob. Thanks for pointing that out to me. the entire I need close
there when he's like, I'm afraid we did. Like, oh, that was that. I came in my pants when I saw that. I was like, oh, God, that's good. Nolan's just in his bag.
I could use subtitles and then people explaining to me every single thing from the movie, like both in terms of historical and in terms of like metaphorical stuff. The YouTube documentary that you referenced, what's the name of it again?
I can pull it up because it was on Peacock and a bunch of people were like raving about it on Peacock, and then it got put on YouTube, which is obviously makes it a lot easier for people to watch.
To End All War, Oppenheimer and the Atomic Bomb. I watched like 90% of it before we went live just to kind of refresh my mind and everything. And it was really well done. Christopher Nolan's in it. Bill Nye the Science Guy's doing it. I know it's a Bill Nye guy, so
who is it? Come on,
I mean, who is it? Yeah, exactly. So Bill. It doesn't feel like a history lesson. Like you don't feel like you're like stuck in fucking 7th grade history.
I wouldn't even say you learn a ton if you already saw Oppenheimer. Yeah. It just confirms a lot of that stuff, really. Like it confirms that they were very meticulous about details in real life shit. But as far as like teaching you new stuff, like you watch the 3-hour movie, they taught you a lot.
Yeah, it stops you from having to go on Wikipedia and read everything. Yes. You can just watch it mindlessly on your couch or computer.
The bomb diagrams were good. When they show like how the bombs actually work, I was like, oh, okay.
Yep. It helped me a lot. I did an episode with Chief last Tuesday, and he kind of like laid a lot of it out. So like that was honestly a good primer to kind of get into it. So
yeah, that's a good one. I listened to it afterwards because I didn't know how much was going to affect the movie because it's all historical records. So definitely check that on the Dog Walk. Subscribe, 5 stars. You guys know the whole deal. One of my favorite scenes. I don't know what's it might be my favorite scene, which is such an idiot thing to say. I just love when the scientists were going crazy when fission got discovered, and it's all the boys celebrating here in the news. Oh, they got fission. They split the atom or whatever the hell fission means. They brought the atom together. I don't know. But I just love that it was just scientists being dudes, you know, like this is what we do after like our teams win a sports championship. These guys did it for like something happened to the atom. I thought that was just great. And like Hartnett again, Hartnett's a fucking
Hartnett was so good. I tweeted Hartnett's my pick for the next Batman in the DCU. I really think he could do it. Christopher Nolan wanted him as Batman in Batman Begins. And apparently at the time, I think he was maybe having some anxiety or something. And he said, I don't want to be that famous. I don't want to be the next Batman, dude. Like, I want to just do movies that I'm into. But at this point, a little more mature, you know, a little more grizzled. I think he could pull it off. He reminded me of like Val Kilmer in this movie almost, like a prime Val Kilmer.
He's like a good friend.
Retired.
Did he really?
Yeah, he like took a little break.
He's in Black Mirror this season, and he's very good in it, though.
Oh, really? I only see
the first episode. He's in the Aaron Paul episode. Okay. They're awesome in it.
How about let's do Josh a salad here? Let's all agree that the World War II movie with Josh Hartnett is Oppenheimer, and just wipe Pearl Harbor, because I'm sure like that's part of the reason. Just sick of all the bullshit you probably received in the past. Yeah. Wipe that off. My favorite, like I consider underrated movie is Lucky Number 11. Have you guys ever seen that?
Yeah, it's a good one.
Eddie, you'd love it, man. Check it out. It's a great movie. Good revenge flick, and it has some like great actors in it too. Ben Kingsley, Morgan Freeman, Bruce Willis.
It's not the Jim Carrey one, is it?
No, that would
with the number. Yeah, what was that? Yeah, that was a shitty. He kept seeing the one number appear, and it was like 2023 or something.
Is that Lem Snickety or whatever it's called? Is it that one?
Lemony Snicket.
Lemony Snickets.
It was a shitty Jim Carrey. I remember my older brother and sister going to see it, and I was, I think, too young to go to the theater at the time or something. And they were like, I was so jealous, and they came back and they were like, "Don't be jealous. That was a piece of shit."
Trying to look it up.
I loved how they aged everyone, especially Robert Downey Jr., who went from like old to older. It was like so subtle, but it was enough that you could see it, especially up close. One thing that like Cillian Murphy deserves to win the Oscar for a million different reasons. That motherfucker had me thinking about taking up the smoking cigarettes at the age of 41. I have kids. So cool. I have outs. I should not get into smoking now, but it looks so fucking cool the way he did. And Oppenheimer's always smoking a butt whenever you're looking like these like documentaries of him. So it was very well done. Eddie, what's your deal? You disagree?
Can I say one last thing before he's going to get the Oscar. This is the movie of the year.
Hold on. You about to shit on
it? Are you poo-pooing it?
Oh, no, I love Cillian Murphy.
Okay.
He's like, if he wins it, I'll be happy. But let's let Killers of the Flower Moon have their last reps.
That's fair.
All I'm saying.
That's fair.
Eddie, you're on My Mom's Basement. We're not friends with Martin Scorsese here. He shits on Marvel movies often enough where we're Team Nolan.
I get it. But that, to me, like a lot of people are more excited for this movie, Oppenheimer, and I loved it, but that's the movie I'm more excited for this year. So.
All right, fair enough. Well, you know what? Can we do a Flowers of the Moon podcast with you when it comes out?
100%. I'm in.
Didn't even have to bully him, Robbie. Or I was kind of put him on the spot. You did put him on the spot, though, on a lot.
Well, we all dress up for that one, too. We dress up like we're in the 40s.
Yeah, we got to find another stupid movie to pair it with, and we'll do another double feature.
Coming out on the same day.
Eddie, we are going to do that now. I promise you, I am going to find the most polarizing movie that is most opposite of that, and we're going to have to go see it as long as there's a funny name where you could lump them together there.
I gotta pull it up and see.
see release dates, yeah.
Also, one last person that I forget is in the movie, but played such a huge fucking role. Which, looking back, my wife actually said she knew he was gonna play a huge role. Mr. Robot, just kind of being the fucking just squirrely guy, sitting in the background, not saying a thing, but was always like kind of hovering, and then just dropped the hammer on Strauss and fucking. I mean, that dude took out Tony Stark like Thanos, man. That was
nice. That felt good when he did that. Like, this motherfucker. Finally, someone's standing up for him other than his wife.
And like they're talking about all the people. And again, this was another thing I really appreciate about the movie. I don't know if you guys are in the same boat. I'm not great with names, especially people I've met like on the fly 20 seconds earlier in a movie. They would be like, oh, you know, Heddle did this. And then they show a picture of the guy they're talking about. Yeah. I'm like, oh, yeah, that dickhead. Oh, okay. Yeah, this guy's a bad guy. This guy's a good guy. So I appreciated that like style to kind of remind the audience on the fly because you have all these names flying at you.
Yeah, I saw a great meme, by the way, of the moment where they discover fission and everything, and they're celebrating and going crazy, and Oppenheimer like walks in the room, and they're all like, "Look at this!" And it just said, "My grandparents when I changed from HDMI 1 to HDMI 2." I thought that was real good.
Ed, do we have we have another movie that day?
I'm trying. What do you know when it comes out? Killers of the Flower Moon.
November, is it?
It looks like
It's Oscar
October.
season, I think. All right, October, yeah.
Right now, it looks like Craven the Hunter is the only one on this list.
Oh, Ed, that's a superhero movie.
Oh no!
It's a shitty. It's well, I shouldn't call it shitty. It's months away from coming out. It's made by Sony, who previously made like the Jared Leto Morbius movie, and like it's a superhero movie disconnected from the Marvel universe, but they're trying to like sneak in their foot in the door. Yeah, it's probably going to be bad, so we should do that one.
It's essentially the worst case scenario, Ed, is what you just brought to our thing.
You know, I've seen Morbius. That's one of the 4 movie hero.
You saw one of the 4 superhero movies you've seen is Morbius? Why?
Yeah.
We refused to go. It was
We
so
didn't
bad.
see it.
Give us the review of the movie now for everyone that wants to hear it in the basement.
Ken Jack hit me up and he's like, "Hey, we're doing Morbius this week. You in?" I'm like, "I don't really do superheroes, but I'll go see it, sure." And I did it. You know what? It wasn't good, but I think it got more hate than it deserved.
I believe that.
That's my
I believe that.
on Morbius.
You know, superhero fans want either amazing or so bad we can make fun of it and make memes and stuff. And Morbius had more memes making fun of it before it came out than after it came out. And that kind of clued me into like, I don't think it was so bad it's good. I think it was just like not great.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was bad. It was bad. I was gonna say that.
Craven of the Flower Moon, is that the thing? Killers of the Hunter Moon. I'm trying to think of how we're gonna lump these two movies.
Killers
together.
of the Hunter Moon is pretty good.
Let's think about this a little more, guys. You know, it'll be football season and.
Ooh, that's true. Fair point. But we'll see what gets bumped back and forth. Because listen,
maybe it's a game. Maybe we do it on a Sunday and we all watch a game together and then all go to the theaters together.
Listen. As of now, the week before, Paw Patrol comes out. If they bump that back a week, we could do Paw Patrol and Killers of the Flower Moon. This could be a perfect thing, Ed. Oh, wait. Not a dog guy. I forgot about it. Allegedly.
All right. You guys ready to talk Barbie?
Are we allowed to? Are we allowed to talk about
quieter,
Barbie?
I know. Are you ready to talk Barbie? I don't want the girls in the office to come in here and get mad at us. Listen, we are men. We're 3 men talking Barbie right now. That's what's happening. That is straight up what is happening. We understand that. We understand this movie was not made for us. Let's state that right off the front. We weren't the target audience. We just weren't. I don't mean to piss people off. I don't know who the target audience was. I know it was women, but was it kids or was it adults or was it in between or was it all of them? Might have been all of them. We were in the theater with a bunch of kids and some of the jokes were very adult oriented, including the ending of the movie. But I guess they're all going to learn about that someday. So it is what it is. I thought Barbie is pretty good. That's about as high as I would go. I would say, I wouldn't even say it was great. I liked it. I laughed. I thought it was a great like dessert after Oppenheimer. Like it lightened the mood, like we said. The Oscar talk blows my mind. I don't understand the Oscar talk. For the whole movie, I think people are saying the movie, Gosling, Margot Robbie, Greta Gerwig, like, and for me that my brain like can't compute that. It kind of like shuts me down internally. I could see the song, I'm Just Ken, getting like a best original song or something like that. I know people loving the song, great scene, funny scene in the movie. Margot Robbie, maybe. Just because she is Margot Robbie and she was such a big part of this. She was great in the movie. She's very funny in the movie. Even like we're talking about Ryan Gosling, we're putting his performance up against Robert Downey Jr. Is that like what best supporting actor is going to come down to this summer? I don't know. Listen, I don't mean to sound like I'm shitting on this movie. I'm not. I just don't understand the Oscar talk for this. Maybe it's because we just saw Oppenheimer before, but yeah, I thought it was like a pretty good summer blockbuster.
I think you had the perfect way to sum it up, Ed, when you were texting us, right? I think it was good, but the ending got a little away, right?
Yeah, I didn't like the ending at all. I thought as soon as they did like the whole Ken fight, and then they moved it into like the Rhea Perlman stuff that got like super deep, I was like, I don't know. That's when I was like, all right, I'm kind of out. I'm out. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying like, oh, we don't. This is not a man rant at all. And like I said, it's definitely not for me because I did enjoy the whole movie, but that's where it just got like a little much. It was a little much.
And it was perfect for what it was. Oppenheimer was a 5-course meal with, heavy fucking sides, and we're talking flavors and meats and shit like that. And Barbie was like the little sorbet you get at a wedding with a little spoon, and you're like, how the fuck is this spoon so small? And it's just a little something sweet. You could go on your phone, right? I think that you can't go on your phone in Oppenheimer. When I was in Barbie, and I was doing it responsibly. I was doing it with the screen.
Responsibly. That's the key.
Yes.
The people, did you see the people in front of me and my girlfriend?
No.
They had their fucking phone out. First of all, they were talking in the middle of it. Someone walked down hey, we're over here. They said out loud, hey, we're over here in the middle of the movie. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Disrespecting.
And they took three, not one, not two, not three selfies with the flash on.
During the movie?
During the movie. It was the front-facing flash. So, it wasn't the full light. But with the screen lighting up white, like this, with 3 of them. Me and my girlfriend were looking at each other are we taking crazy pills right now? Different Will Ferrell movie. Or no flash photography in the movie theater.
I had a blog the other day about a guy who got beat up in a movie theater, and I say, because he wanted to sit in his assigned seats, kind of like Kevin, right? Yeah. And I said, you can't punch someone for wanting to sit in the seats that they bought. I had a list of things. I think if someone spoils the movie for you, as you're watching it, before you watch it, punch in the face. This one might be a little extreme. I think if they give you stale popcorn, you should be allowed to punch someone in the face. Because listen, that's a big reason I go to the movies. I think if someone takes a selfie in the movie theater 3 times with the flash on, punch in face. Now, maybe have your girl, if it's a girl, have your girl punch her in the face. I think there is still lines that should not be crossed.
It was girls, so I just had to look at my girlfriend and be like, can you believe these women? She was like, shh, we're in Barbie.
Imagine Barbie on this big screen. She starts being like, oh, and guys don't let us take selfies in the movie theater.
I'm just oh, it's about me now.
And I'm with you guys. It was fun. It was lighthearted. If you didn't laugh during that movie, I think there was definitely some good chuckle moments.
Right? People that are angry about this.
Oh, that's my favorite part, are the people that are angry about it. If you're angry about a Barbie movie, you have a lot of deep-seated anger issues, or you're just trying to go viral. You're playing the internet game. You're doing your Skip Bayless takes just to go viral. Hey, to each their own. Everyone's got to make their money some way. But I thought that was ridiculous.
That was the premise of the movie. It's one thing to hear it online because those are people, like you said, they're doing Skip Bayless. But I had people in my personal life I was kind of woke. But I didn't mind it because it was the premise of the movie. Give me that over a movie that's not trying to do that, but stuffs every little twist and every little caveat on top of it to make it seem like it's the most progressive movie of all time. I hate that way more than Barbie making jokes out of it.
They were so front facing with everything they were doing, making jokes about even that, the goofiness of that. And I felt less up on their high horse. We hate men. Men are the worst. By the end, they say you are enough, right? You don't need to be the leader. You don't need to be our servants. You're enough. Everyone's enough. Everyone is perfect as they are. That's the overall message of it, and just not to fucking put women down. Which, guess what? If that's not what you expected out of the Barbie movie, you walked into the wrong movie theater.
Yeah. And it was legitimately funny. There were funny parts. They, the part where they broke the third wall a lot.
The fourth
when
wall.
They're if you want the fourth wall, sorry, thank you. They broke the fourth wall a lot. The part with when they're if you want to accurately describe someone not looking pretty, don't cast Margot Robbie.
That's my favorite line in the movie, I think.
Yeah, and then I forget what song they had the Kens playing.
That was my number one note.
The
Matchbox 20 song.
Yeah,
it was so funny. The fact that was the song that they all loved, and then when they played it on the beach for their Barbies,
dude,
hysterical.
So I was like, this is ridiculous. This is awesome.
Yeah.
You never seen The Godfather? Come on. If you're a dude and you can't laugh at yourself a little bit, I don't know what we're doing.
They had the Snyder Cut joke for the nerds. That was a great, funny Snyder Cut reference. I thought Kate McKinnon was really funny as the fucked up Barbie that was drawn all. She was kind of what's the name of Angelica's doll from Rugrats? That's
Cynthia. Good call, Bob.
She's kind of Cynthia.
Yeah.
And I also thought Michael Cera was very funny as Alan. He's basically just Michael Cera.
Yeah.
I can't look at Uncle Sam without laughing, man. Like, no matter what his face, I just think of George Michael Bluth and all the shit he went through in Arrested Development. And then, the super bad character. I mean, that guy just has a face. And Alan was the perfect character for him in this. Oh.
So, yeah, I thought it was very enjoyable. Like, very enjoyable movie. We're not calling it an Oscar contender. We're not going to give it that. But if you're looking for a fun summer movie, fuck yeah. Like, if you have a girlfriend or you want to take someone on a date, I would say this is the perfect date movie.
I think that is like the target audience. It's probably people that are like dating age from their 20s to like, 40s or so that grew up with it. Because a lot of like the girls that we went with and stuff like that, they were talking about like, yeah, my wife was like, oh, I knew all those Barbies. The sugar daddy was a real Barbie. I know they showed it in the credits and I still didn't believe it. She's like, oh no, that was a very
pooping
real
dog. That was funny.
Pooping dog, Skipper, the sister, and then there was the pregnant.
The Skipper friend. One. Cannot believe that was a real Barbie. The one where the boobs grow?
Yeah. I mean, wild crazy. Times. That's probably like when DX was out though. Like we were crotch shopping and they were making their dolls' boobs grow. Like it was the 90s and 2000s were just a different fucking world than today. And this would probably piss off a lot of people that came out back then, even, right? Because it's like, what is this woke shit? But I mean, I loved it. And like you said, basically every actor that wasn't in Oppenheimer was in this movie. Like it was just star-studded. Will Ferrell's agent. Shout out to them because they figured out the secret to really cashing those checks is just get behind a toy franchise. The guy made all this money from the Lego movies. Now he's cashing in Barbie. I'm sure he'll be doing some sort of like Ninja Turtles or something like that in the future. So it was, and I just like having Will Ferrell around.
I think they said Mattel has like 42 brands that they're ready to make it to movies now.
Oh my god!
Because of the success of Barbie.
Yeah, I saw that there's a Barney crazy. Movie on tap.
Barney, Daniel Blue is doing right.
The dinosaur.
Yeah, and he's like, I think it's like he described it as like, Barney says, like, I love me, I love you. What if that's not true? And I was like, wait, what? What are you talking about? Barney, I think they're making a Hot Wheels movie, which, that just seems like a racing movie. You could slap the Hot Wheels name onto. But yeah,
Bugs Life fans.
Yeah, you could just make a bunch of those. So this movie, I also put it was half elf, half Lego movie.
Yes, perfect way to put it. I got a lot of Lego vibes. The going from Barbie Land to the real world was straight up out of Buddy going from the North Pole there.
And I loved that. The visuals of it were very cool.
Yeah, there's no way you're going to make that look cool or make us understand it. So make it absurd and have some fun with it, which they were very tongue in cheek. I can't imagine what anyone, unless you're taking this shit at face value, how could you really like get mad at this?
Angry at this? John Cena plays a fucking merman. Like, what are you mad at? Which apparently he wasn't cast in the movie. He was just shooting something at the studio next door. And since him and Margot Robbie were in the Suicide Squad together, she took a walk over. And she thought he was hysterical. She was like, "You want to play a merman?" He was like, "Fuck yeah!"
That's hilarious. I didn't know that. I needed they toyed with my heartstrings too much, saying there won't be Barbie girl, and then they said there would.
I know. I'm with you on that. I was waiting for that, and then it wasn't the version I was waiting for.
Yeah, like that would have played so well in that movie if they timed it, if they dropped it perfectly.
Yeah,
and they kind of blew that. So that's
a good point.
But yeah, the narration was funny. I did think was it Rhea Perlman? Rhea
Perlman. Yep.
I thought she was good, like good casting in terms of if you're gonna do the creator of Barbie and the whole reason she created it. I thought that was cool. A little glimpse into that.
I didn't love the America Ferrera, like that whole they were necessary characters, but I will say, like, as just someone that has a wife and a daughter and a mom, and I think a lot of people with just a brain, I understand the message of the movie. It ain't easy being a fucking woman in this world. So like the whole rant, I was like, yeah, that shit kind of sucks.
Make you think about your mom a little bit, make you sentimental about the good times playing with toys with your mom. I thought it was funny. Her husband that was doing Duolingo the whole movie was just trying to be like, "Como está bien?" That's her real husband in real life.
Is it really? Huh?
Oh, no.
A little fun fact for you.
Bobby, fun facts here. Come on, give me some more, Rob. I feel like you got a whole bunch up your sleeve, man.
I think that was the last fun fact I had written down, and that brings us to the end of the Barbenheimer Oppenheimer podcast.
I'm making my call, too, from this movie, and everyone who watches the Secret Invasion podcast now. The graphic actor, Kingsley Ben Adir, which, again, having a name Kingsley Ben when there's a Ben Kingsley, but Kingsley Ben-Adir, that guy rules. Eddie, he's one of the Kens. He was like the main backup Ken, basically. He was a black guy.
Okay.
I think
the tennis racket at the end with the headband.
Yes.
Yeah.
In Secret Invasion, it hasn't been a great show, and his character I haven't really liked, but the actor is just so awesome. I'm buying all my stock. I'm going all in on that. I haven't felt this good about like an entertainment figure since I went with Bruno Mars back when he was coming off.
Whoa!
I'm talking Bruno level. I said Bruno was going to be doing a halftime show within 10 years. I think he did it within like 3 years after I made that proclamation. This guy, I'm saying Oscar. This guy's not for Barbie, not for Barbie. No. But I'm saying, Oscar, you're marking here now, July 25th, 2023.
Hey,
telling you right now.
His next movie, the Bob Marley biopic, he's playing Bob Marley.
Maybe that's going to be where the trophy comes from. If I call that
the
within
Academy loves
6
biopics.
months, yeah.
Imagine he beat out Cillian Murphy. That would be tough.
That would break my heart. That would break my heart.
What did it cost? Everything.
This whole thing, man, I thank you two both for doing it because it has a fun name, Barbenheimer. This is actually going to be like the worst thing ever because future movie studios are going to try to just lump two movies together and to get you
make horrible skits about it.
Yeah, it's like
kill the joke.
It's like $50 just to see two movies. You're just sitting in a theater for 6+ hours. Tom Cruise is probably livid right now that Mission Impossible has just vanished from everyone's minds, and these are going to be known as the people that saved the movie industry for this month or whatever it may be. But this shit was pure America, capitalism and war. That's what Barbenheimer is all about. If they released this on 4th of July, it would have been perfect. It was an absolute blast, and I got to hang out with Eddie in the basement. Bob, how beautiful is that?
Hey, I said not the basement this week. It's the Mojo Doja Casa.
Sorry, I was scrolling through text. I was looking through one of mine and Robbie's old conversations because you threw that praise on that guy, the next Bruno Mars or whatever, getting Bruno Mars vibes.
Yeah.
Robbie, we never addressed. I'm sorry to turn this a little dark, but you texted me. We were texting about Creed 3. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
And this guy, this guy was talking about majors and this and that, and then like the next day, it flipped crazy.
That was an all-time bad prediction.
Oh, dude, all time. And the timing was unreal. I meant to make a joke. I was like,
yeah.
Sorry, Bob.
Major went minor. Yeah.
We don't even bring up his character in Marvel, who's like the most important, should be the most important being in the universe right now. We're like, I don't know if we can even say guy's name.
Do you understand, Eddie, that they've built the entire Marvel universe around him?
No. Did they really?
So he's supposed to be the next Thanos, and he's supposed to be the next villain for everybody. The next Avengers movie on the slate is called The Kang Dynasty. He's Kang.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, it's that is a dark turn to end the podcast on. I'm gonna stare off into the drizzle like Oppenheimer now.
Yeah, Bob looks like Albert Einstein after you told him that, and he's
I'm sorry, but that's what you get for
bullying. Yeah. We deserve it. Thank you for coming on, Ed. Thank you for doing the 6 hours in the movie theater. This was a very fun podcast. Go see Oppenheimer, go see Barbie. I mean, if you watch the whole podcast, we kind of spoiled everything for you, but they're still good movies. Go see them. Everyone's going to be talking about them, not only now, but come award season. Everyone's going to be like, you didn't fucking see Oppenheimer back in the day? Go see it. And we'll talk to you for the Secret Invasion finale recap next.